Batman Caped Crusader, which comes out August 1st. Dave, let me hear it. Are you excited about this? I can't wait to hear. This is one of the shows I've been waiting to talk about with you. As you're like, oh, I want to talk about this. Yeah, I've been eager to hear your thoughts about it.
Guys, Batman the Caped Crusader comes out August 1st on Prime Video. They will be dropping all 10 episodes at once, which is super cool because if you guys know me at all, I love to binge watch. And I have to tell you guys know that I was super hyped for the release of the X-Men series. I am so juiced for the release of this Caped Crusader series. I'm so beyond excited for this. I want this to drop right now, and if this was available right now, I would do this podcast and then I would go watch 10 episodes of it.
And the cool thing about this, before we jump into the trailer here, is has a lot of the original people. Like it's got a very established group of Batman people doing this show, which is really cool.
Absolutely insane. So guys, if you guys don't know anything about this so far, basically this is going to work as a successor to the original animated series in 1996. Now it's not going to follow that series. It's going to take place in a time period before that series, but it is working as a successor in the sense is that the art style, the visualization, and the people working on the project is kind of what I'm going for as a successor. And you'll see it as we're moving through the trailer. You can really see the influence of the original animated series. It's very dark. It's very noir. Gotham's has a very specific look to it. And that's kind of what's exciting me the most. And like Adam said, star-studded lineup of producers, directors, people working on this project. Bruce Timm, the creator of the original animated series, is returning to work on the project. They also got J.J. Abrams, who needs no introduction, and they've also brought on Matt Reeves, who did The Batman. So I mean, just incredible minds in the comic book, movie, TV space who have a very good knowledge of the source material and a very specific kind of look and vibe that they're going for. And I think all three of these people kind of have the same vision when it comes to like how they want to portray this, don't you think?
And I think it shows in the trailer, and it definitely takes a lot of inspiration from the 90s like animated series, and they do it in a way where it's original but still stays true to again, the vision of what these three are putting together and making it exciting for people to watch. And that's why I think it's going to be really cool.
So, I mean, there's a lot of hype behind it. Adam, if you want to roll a trailer, we can run through it. The thing that you're going to notice here is Batman has a little bit different of a look to him, specifically kind of the when it comes to the cape and cowl, the points and the ears are a little bit higher, and that's kind of drawing a lot of influence from the original Batman, the original comic book run, very early in the career. And I think what's really cool about this is I don't know if you remember from the original animated series, but it was kind of hard to really pinpoint the time frame of where it was at because you felt like it kind of took place in the 90s when you were, watching it. But also if you really looked at it, like they had kind of this old school vintage vibe behind it when it came to like the cars and the houses and the way people dressed and everything. So it was a little kind of confusing. This is going to take place in the 40s. So we know that this is going to take place in a very early time. And they're saying that this is going to take place before Frank Miller's Incantation of Year One, which is kind of one of the earliest, aside from the original Batman comic or the original Detective Comics, kind of the earliest stories that we have of Batman. Like this is literally going to take place like 2 weeks into Batman being Batman, where people don't really know who he is. Like, Detective Gordon and, like all of these people, they're not comfortable with Batman. They don't know who he is. They're not used to him being a crime fighter. And all of these villains are going to be meeting him for the very first time. And it's like, to be able to kind of see that as it unfolds is really awesome. Like, I'm super excited to see that. Like, the first time Catwoman meets Batman, you know what I mean? Like, the first time the Penguin meets Batman. It is like, I'm so excited for this. It's going to be so sick.
And it's funny that you say that, that this is gonna be like the first time that they know Batman's coming, and he even says that in the trailers, like, oh, they're gonna know I'm here and I'm coming, and it's cool to hear him say something like that because, again, like you said, it's early Batman, it's the 40s, it's the time where nobody knows who he is, and I think it's a really good time period of Batman, and overall, I think it looks really cool, and I really like the fact that they're going back to the feel of it's more investigative and like it's got that noir style, and that's it just fits the theme of the 1940s and so on, and it's just cool. It gives a very nostalgic feel of a Batman, and I'm excited for this one. Probably not as much as you because you know Batman so much more than I do in comics and the animated series. But other than that, I love Batman, and this is a great direction for it to go.
You said it's definitely going to lean more on the detective side of things because, you know, like we said, it takes place in the 40s. So he's going to be in this situation where, like, you know, this is very early into his career. He's only like 2 weeks into being Batman. It's in the 1940s. He's not going to have a lot of the stuff that you're used to seeing. You know what I mean? Like, he's just not going to have like he's not
The
going to have the bat,
technology and the super
the technology, and like he's not going to have the bat plane. He's not going to have, you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to have a lot of that stuff. So it's going to be a little bit of a different vibe. But
yeah.
I think what they're going to do is just, you know, like you said, lean heavier into the detective side of things. And I always really enjoyed that aspect of Batman. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And I think one of the really cool things is, if you guys were just listening, you weren't able to see the trailer, the incantations of all the people that we've seen in that trailer look really well
Yeah.
done. Like, they look really, really good. Like, Catwoman looked great. We saw Firebug in the trailer, which is we'll talk about later, a little bit more of an obscure villain. But we saw the Penguin, and we saw Clayface. Like, Clayface looks so sick
Yeah.
with that. Like, he had like the train robber get up. Like, he had the
Yeah.
handkerchief and stuff. Like, it looks so good, dude. It looks so
No,
good.
I think that one was Scarecrow.
No, that's Clayface.
Oh, you think so? Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, well
That's
then
the
I was wrong with
incantation
that.
of Clayface.
Interesting, unless I'm thinking of a different character. But yeah, I think that's also really cool. Like how many villains that they already showing off and who they're gonna bring into the show, and like they have Harvey Dent, and I'm not sure. So it shows Harvey Dent as Harvey Dent. You don't really see a transition of him being Two-Face yet, anyways. There's Onomatopoeia, Firebug, Clayface, Hugo Strange, Scarecrow, Carmine Falcone, the Penguin, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and those are just the ones shown in the trailer. So who knows if there's going to be the Joker or anybody else going to pop up that is outside of the trailer. But it's really cool, like you said, the incantations and the drawings really fits with the style of Bruce Timm and what he did with the animated series, and I think it looks really cool. And also, like, going back to not nostalgia, the detective work that really, I think that's what made the Batman movie so, like, I don't want to say like the most successful. I thought that one was good because of how Matt Reeves took it to that investigative. I think that's why that Batman worked. Like, the Batman worked because of the route he took. Is it the best Batman movie ever? No, but I think it worked for what he was trying to do, and it was a good movie.
I think you nailed it right on the head. I mean, I think we've gone so far that, like, people almost kind of forget that Batman at his heart is a detective. I mean, the original comics are detective comics, you know, and it wasn't always this like
brawler, get in there, beat a bunch of people up, get out, and yes, yeah, he wasn't like a face the crime head on. He was like, okay, I got to figure out what's happening. Like, I got to figure out where these crimes are coming from, and
yeah, and it kind of throws it back to its roots. So I'm super excited for the direction that they're taking this, and also they've already signed on for 2 seasons. So I think that's really interesting. The fact that this has already been signed on for 2 seasons, so we know that we're getting a second season for this. And we did mention a lot of people. We mentioned Harley. We mentioned, Firefly, Clayface, Two-Face. The one thing that people are saying is they wish that they saw the Joker in this trailer. But I will say, I do not think that the Joker is going to be in season 1, but I do think the Joker is going to be in season 2, because if you think of it this way, do you remember when Batman Begins came out, how it ended?
yeah,
Okay, so at the end of Batman Begins, they have this whole thing with the Scarecrow and with Ra's al Ghul, all that stuff, right? And at the very end, Commissioner Gordon's like, there's a new guy in town. and he hands him the Joker card, and that's how Batman Begins finished. Do you remember the hype that happened from that moment until the release of The Dark Knight? People did not stop talking about the possibility of the Joker coming in for the second movie for years until they saw it. So like I'm almost kind of thinking like what better way to end season 1 than tease the Joker to make sure that people are interested in season 2.
Right, and he's got to be around because like unless they're not staying true to the comics, but like Harley Quinn is Harley Quinn because of the Joker, and I'd be hard pressed to think that they're going to be like, "Oh, there's no Joker for this Harley Quinn." Like it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense that they do Harley without the Joker. So I know people are a little bit disappointed that they're not seeing the Joker in this trailer. I do think we are going to get the Joker, obviously, and I think it's going to happen at the end of season 1, teasing into season 2.
And I wonder with that, like, so Harley Quinn seems to be like more of like from the trailer wise, she seemed more like stone faced, like hard, like you know what I mean? Like she seemed more serious right now. And I wonder if that's like you said, this is like even like early Harley Quinn before like the way she's thinking now is like, oh, the Joker manipulated me and like I don't want anything to do with him yet. And then it turns into her goofy Harley and Puddin and stuff like that next season.
I do think this is going to be a little bit of a darker series too, because the one thing that you mentioned with Harley Quinn, if you go back and you look at Harley's outfit in the trailer, it's very different. It's not the original animated series with the red and the white. It's not the Daddy's Little Girl incantation. It's almost kind of like it's almost kind of creepy, isn't it? Like kind of scary. It's a very like Harley Quinn-esque like doll kind of look to it, and I don't know, it's almost like unsettling. And if you go back and look at the Matt Reeves versions of the Batman, his characters like the Riddler, like they were kind of unsettling. It was very dark and very like, I think this is going to be a little bit more edgy than people think.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it fits well with what all these like producers are going for and the creators are going for. And I think it works very well and it stays true to their vision. And I think it's nice, like Batman in the sense of like, we got that Merry Little Batman. You remember that? We talked about that. And truthfully, I didn't watch it because at first I was like, oh, it's so silly. It's going to be fun. And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, this is not what I want Batman to be. This is not the art style I like. This is not the vision I see for a serious investigating crime fighter. And so that's why I was like, this is not for me. And granted, it was for some kids. It was definitely geared more towards kids. And this one might have more mature tones to it with just the overall noir feel, the darker tones in general, and I think it's going to be good for that sense.
And we talk about it all the time, dude. It's like the MCU has kind of like figured it out, I guess. I mean, they're, obviously we talk about it all the time. They're starting to die off a little bit, but the MCU kind of figured it out. For whatever reason, the DC movies just never hit. But the DC animateds, like that's kind of their bread and butter. That's where they really shine. So to have something like this where it might be a little bit darker, kind of fits the narrative of DC. You know what I mean? Like DC was always darker anyway, so it should be like this.
I agree.
Yeah.
This is a random question about just the Batman and like Batman in general. Is it the situation where like Sony and Spider-Man is Prime and Batman now the thing? Is that how it works? So I feel like everything is becoming Prime Batman.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they did a deal because Warner Brothers Animation is still on this project.
Right.
Yeah. So it's weird. It's like DC, Warner Brothers Animation, and Amazon Prime. It's hard to almost follow the chain of command now.
Is.
You know what I mean?
Right. And it's either Prime or Disney at this point with movies. So I don't know where that's at. Let us know in the comments. Is it the situation like Sony and Spider-Man? And I don't know.
I think they just have to latch. You know what I mean? Like at this point, you just kind of have to latch onto somebody.
Some type of streaming service.
Yeah, because you got like 5 major streaming services, platforms, and if you're not a part of them, you're kind of left in the dust.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what other option do they have? Straight to video.
Right.
Like that's dead in the water.
Just
You're gonna
put it on
this,
YouTube.
yeah. Are you gonna put this like in theaters? Like that's not gonna work. I mean, yeah, they'd probably be better off just putting it on YouTube if they're not joining up with like an Amazon Prime or Netflix or something like that.
And I wonder if Prime just made a deal like, hey, bring your next 4 Batman things to us, and as a TV show instead of Apple TV or Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. And that's probably what it's looking like.
If I remember correctly, I believe that this was a Netflix series, and Netflix canceled it, and then Prime swooped in and picked it up. Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I'll have to look at that. I wish I knew that for sure, but I'm pretty sure that this was mentioned somewhere else and then canceled, and then Prime picked it up.
Well, I'm glad Prime picked it up because it looks great, and I'm excited about this one. It makes me want to go watch the previous animated series because I love Batman, and I just don't remember them as much as I wish I did because it was when I was a kid, a very small kid at that time. So,
Dude, I watch the animated series all the time. I've got the box set. I literally just pop it in. It's one of my shows that I just put on when I just want like some background noise. I watch it all the time, dude. It still holds up. It's great. But yeah, pretty star-studded lineup here too. So we'll run through that real quick. Hamish Linklater is going to play Batman. Christina Ricci is going to play Catwoman, which I thought was really cool. Jamie Chung is going to play Harley. Jamie Chung has my heart. She's so pretty.
yeah.
She's so pretty.
I don't think I know what she looks like, to be honest. I'll have to look her up.
Yeah, look her up. She's so pretty. I thought this one was interesting. Do you remember when we did the guess all the people that played Batman?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember that Dietrich Bader was on that list? He's actually in the show and he's playing Harvey Dent, not Batman.
Interesting.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. Also, we got Haley Joel Osment, whose character has yet to be named, and I'm going to throw it out there and say that I do believe that Haley Joel Osment, I know he's older now, but he still has a little bit of that younger kind of voice to him. I would not be surprised if he ends up being Robin. Minnie Driver is also in this series, who I would not be surprised would end up being Poison Ivy. And again, I know the Joker has not been confirmed, but Joe DiMaggio is listed in the cast of credits. If you guys don't know, Joe DiMaggio has played the Joker before, so there's a little foreshadowing that the Joker most likely will be in this series for season 2. And I do believe that it's going to be him that will be playing the Joker, which he did great. He's not Mark Hamill, but if I had to pick a number 2, he did great.
You mean you're not going to pick Jared Leto?
Get out.
No, I'm just kidding. But okay, yeah, I'm excited. For this.
And I'm really excited that they're kind of bringing in some lesser known villains. So we talked about Harley, we talked about Penguin, all those are great. Bringing in Firebug, I thought was really, really cool. So if you guys don't know who Firebug is, he was in the trailer. He literally looks like a bug and spraying fire all over the place. His name is Joe Rigger. He is from Batman 318 was his first appearance. He's like a soldier and a demo expert. We've also seen Natalia Knight, which in the comic book she was called Nocturna, but I always thought she was a really cool character. She was from Detective Comics 529. She ended up like building this stargazer thing and then got hit with like a radioactive beam that kind of took all of her pigment away, which made her very sensitive to light, which is why she's called Nocturna, kind of like nocturnal. But yeah, she has the power to like teleport and all these cool things. She's a really cool character. And the last one is the Gentleman Ghost. I don't know if anybody knows who the Gentleman Ghost is, but I've always really loved this character, and to see this incantation in this series come to life is really cool. The Gentleman Ghost is from Flash 88, all the way back in 1947. His name's Jim Craddock. He was basically an Englishman in like the 1800s, and he ended up dying in the 1800s. He was hung, and then he came back. So he came back as a ghost. He's a legit ghost.
Normally cool, it's just a guy putting a mask on saying, "Ooh, yeah," and like that's a really another thing about like all the Batman like villains. Typically, it's like a human that has some type of tragic background. And I mean, this ghost has a tragic background, and all of the villains in general have a tragic background. But one I thought was kind of funny that really didn't is, and I've actually never heard of this villain except for this show, is Onomatopoeia. And, and like, there's not much known about who his like original, like who he really is aside from Onomatopoeia, and his powers are just weird. He can mimic any sound. Like that's such a strange thing, and it's really cool that I didn't know that he was just like a very deadly assassin and like mercenary, and I thought it was really cool, and like this no real emotion to him aside from I'm a stone cold killer, and that's kind of cool,
kind of badass.
Yeah, it is. It's such a weird villain name too, Onomatopoeia.
Very weird. Yeah, so I thought it was cool. We're obviously getting the representations of all the people that you want to see, but we're also getting some some B-sides, some lesser known people, which I think is kind of cool. It keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting.
Yeah, the only one that they're missing for me is Kite Man. I'm just kidding.
Or Ratcatcher.
Yeah, such random ones. Ratcatcher's coming on the MetaQuest 3. Don't forget about that.
We got so much
Arkham
hate
Shadows,
about crapping on the Ratcatcher.
But
He's a fine villain, guys.
Yeah.
He's fine. I'm just saying, like leading role villain. I don't know.
who knows? We'll have to play it. We'll have to get the MetaQuest 3 and join the group that's playing it. But
Yeah.
not for me yet.
But yeah,
So
guys, it should be amazing. Drops on Prime Video August 1st. All 10 episodes will drop. I'm super excited for this one. I will be watching all 10 the second that they drop, and I will report back to you to let you guys know what you
I'd say that
what
could
I
be our
think.
first show that we review together. So keep an eye out for that, everybody.
Super excited for this one. It's gonna be great.